I'm Adam. And I'm Chick. And this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Hey, Chick, do you like beaches? I like to hang out by beaches. I prefer to stay in the water. I get that. I prefer to be in the water too. You may not know this, but hippos have extra dense bones. So what does that mean? They are extra challenging to break? Essentially, that means that I'm an expert sinker. I'm a terrible swimmer. I just sink. I don't think that you stink. Sink, not stink. In today's book, a little girl goes exploring along a beach with her mom. Let's get started. Seaside Stroll by Charles Trevino. Illustrated by Maribel Lechuga. Scruffy shoes, socks, sweater, scratchy, silly scarf. Step, step, sidestep, snow. Slow steps, shuffle, straddle, saunter, sand. Skip, spin, swing, seagulls, shells, stones, seaweed, surf. Silly sink or swim story. So satisfying. Surely something stays static. Sure, something. I can't keep this going. Do you suppose that this whole book is only going to be filled with S words? Certainly. I see what you did there, but that starts with a C. Stand still. Spectacular, sparkling, smile. Super. Steady step. Solid step. Shaky step. Stumble. Swish, swirl, surge, surprise. Slip, splash, sink, soaked. Stretch, snatch, squeeze, saved. Sopping shoes, socks, sweater, salty, silly scarf. That looks terrible, dripping wet and cold. At least she got her doll back. I associate the beach with warm weather, so I don't know if I would be heading there when I'm all bundled up. I wouldn't get so close to the water, at least. You never know when the tide is going to come in and get you. One time when I was in Hawaii, I had just gone snorkeling with my daughter. We came across a sea turtle and we were swimming with it. Oh, that sounds rough. It was amazing. But when we got out, the tide had risen and we were walking along a rocky section when the tide came in and knocked me over. What happened? I fell down, got scraped up, and tore my rotator cuff. Oof, you're telling me. I couldn't raise my arm above my head for months. Slide, slosh, squishy step, slush. Sniffle, shiver, sneeze, shoulder. Swift steps, scamper, scuttle, scurry, shower. Spray, squirt, scrub, soap suds. Sweatshirt, slippers, supper, story. Silence. Safe, snug, sleep, shh. As bad as it sounds to be cold and have on wet clothes, it is the best being cold and then getting in a hot bath. When I was little, I loved taking baths. I would get a whole bunch of soap and make the most amount of bubbles that I could. Me too. I would sink below the water and imagine that the bubbles were an island floating above me and that I was a sea monster. No offense, but isn't that kind of what hippos do? But we aren't sea creatures. A creature is defined as an animal or person. Okay. And you lived in the sea. Therefore, you were literally a sea creature. Sure, maybe. But I didn't have a beard made out of bubbles, though. Anyway, keep watching to see how this book was set up and why certain words were used. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm Adam. And I'm Chick. And this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Author's note about the words in this book. Has a word ever clanked around in your head demanding your attention, and then other words joined in? Each word brings its own ideas, impressions, and images. I began writing this story with the word step, step, and other words wanted to tag along, to go wherever we were headed. The story became similar to a poem, and it's a collection of sensory words, all starting with the letter S, about exploring a beach in wintertime. The story uses nouns, verbs, adjectives, and 2 interjections. Nouns are generally people, places, and things. Verbs are action words. Adjectives are descriptive words. Interjections are exclamations. Did you notice the structure? The first 8 lines and the last 8 lines of the story match. For example, the first line of the story goes like this: scruffy shoes, socks, sweater. Scratchy, silly, scarf. That matches its partner line. Sopping shoes, socks, sweater. Salty, silly, scarf. And this is the 8th line of the story. Spectacular, sparkling, smile, super. And it matches its partner. Safe, snug, sleep. Shh. The 4 lines in the middle of the story are made up of verbs with a few adjectives that increase the action. The poem's rhythm and pace are meant to capture the wonder of exploration and discovery. Exploring the beach in winter. Visiting a beach in the wintertime offers many sights and surprises. You might see anemones, sea stars, crabs, and barnacles thriving in tide pools, snow sculptures and sand sculptures standing side by side, active birds, certain stars and constellations from a different perspective, various wintry cloud formations. What will you find? Did you know it can take thousands of years for a natural beach to be created? They form because the water that is moving constantly